Anybody want to start? We're good?
Up to you.
No.
How did you get attached to the project? Did you,
Jake reached out to me. Jake is old friends with Tim Van Patten, who directed quite a few episodes of Boardwalk Empire. And Tim gave him a good recommendation and said you should read the script. He's really talented, and so I did.
Go ahead.
The new futuristic setting, is that what appealed to you? It's quite
what appealed to me? Well, first off, what appealed to me is just the subject matter. I feel like something we can't ignore or pretend like it's not going to happen, because it seems like that's the way the world's heading, dealing with this crisis. But I also enjoyed the family aspect of it, and I'm a big fan of Elle and her sister Dakota. I worked with on The Runaways, and so I look forward to working with her and Cody and Nick as well. And yeah, there really wasn't any reason not to do it. I mean, I got to go to South Africa, which is fun, and see a new landscape, somewhere I've never been before. And I really enjoyed working with Jake. He's a lot of fun to work with.
Now, Ernest, we don't actually know a ton about him when we get into it. And as the movie goes on, we learn a little bit more about him and his drinking problems. How much, but we still don't know, everything hasn't been filled in for us. How much of that were you able to fill in, or did Jake kind of give you the background on Ernest and what happened before the movie started with his wife and how that happened and his drinking problems and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is once they started having trouble with the land, that Ernest got frustrated and scared and started drinking a lot, and then got in the accident with his wife. Yeah, beyond that, I don't think the gory details are necessary to know about. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was a car accident, and she got paralyzed, and the rest of it is up to your imagination, I guess.
What do you think, what keeps Ernest with that land? Like there's obviously thriving cities in the other areas. You know, we've seen him throughout the film. But like, what keeps him there with his family? Like, especially all the bad things that are happening. There's no, the farm's not growing crops, any of that. What keeps him there? What's holding him to it?
Well, this may sound hokey, but I think it's his land, and I think that means something. I mean, it's a very American, like you see these farmers dealing with Monsanto and big companies like this, trying to railroad them off their land or put stuff on their land, like spraying seeds and stuff on their land that they don't even know about. Or you see in it's Nebraska, right, where they're trying to block the Keystone Pipeline, mm-hmm. or the farmers that don't want fracking on their land. I mean, it's their land. And you can say, well, you just move somewhere else, but you just keep moving somewhere else, eventually there's not going to be anywhere to move. And you're also assuming that the people who do live in the nice part of town want you to come there. They probably don't. There's not a lot of, it's not that the whole world has been ruined, but in a situation like that where there's less real estate, people are going to get very protective of what they have. I think the borders are very strong in this world, as you see when they go through the mountains talking about states. And that's something that could happen in the future here in America. You know, you always hear with Texas, they want to be their own country anyway.
Do you look at water a little bit differently now, having gone through this and spent so much time thinking about water and as a resource?
Well, I've always been a conservationist. I mean, for years. So, I mean, if anything, it's more just a happy coincidence for me that Jake would write something about something that I cared about. Because, you know, a lot of times, what people write is not. It might be entertaining or funny or whatever, but it's not really. The world could live without it. It's not that important. But to work on something that you feel like is significant is nice.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of feature films recently have been, like in the 50s, the feature films were very like jetpacky and hopeful, and right now they seem to be those dystopian like views of them. And like, do you think that's because of a certain zeitgeist that's going on?
Yeah, I mean, the way I look at it, nobody wants to be surprised by the future. So if something is going to happen, it's better to face it head on and think about it, or try and find a solution, make it better. But to just not address it at all is, you know, in a way makes it even scarier. You know, I live in Red Hook, Brooklyn, and our neighborhood was really affected by Hurricane Sandy, or Superstorm Sandy. And so I've seen firsthand, like, what that might look like, you know, some sort of problem, disaster, crisis, whatever. So, but you can make peace with it if you don't shy away from it.
Is there anything about the character Ernest that you can personally relate to?
I think his love for his children and his desire to want to be useful, you know, in the world, and his struggle to stay useful and not just, you know, disintegrate into despair, but to fight against that.
You mentioned Sandy, a real life event. In 99 Homes is also like a real life problem, a very remarkable feminist thing. Is that why you're attracted to it? Because you feel like we are on a stage where...
Which film did you say?
99 Homes.
Oh yeah, 99 Homes. Yeah.
It's a very important issue that movie tackles.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, again, you know, people like Jake and Ramin and Jeff Nichols, you know, these are, to me, it's a gift to have these kind of filmmakers because regardless of whether you enjoy watching their films or not, one of their main inspirations is making films for the people, about people. That regular people, you know, Jeff is always adamant about, you know, his movies take place in the middle of the country, you know, Take Shelter is in Ohio. It's not some, and that's important because it's trying to make movies that, you know, it's ironic because it's so hard for these smaller movies. It's easier for them to get shown in big cities than it is in the places where they're actually set, which I find really bizarre. It's like anyone in New York City can go see The Young Ones, but will someone in Colorado be able to go see The Young Ones? You know, because that's who should be seeing it. And that the way the market works is very strange. But anyway, my original point is that, it's a real blessing I've had to work with these guys, and I'm glad they're making the kind of movies they make.
Do you think movies like this can act in the future as an effective way of getting environmental messages across to a wider audience? Do you think they're more effective than the government would be?
Yeah, Well, you know, I mean, you always got to be careful. I mean, at the end of the day, people, they don't want to be preached at, and they don't want to. There has to be a story there beyond, you know, any sort of message. You know, there has to be a story, characters, and you know, some people watch the movie and it doesn't really. The fact that there's a water shortage isn't the most prominent thing for them. It may not even be what they take away from it. You know? So, I mean, the government doesn't really do anything. So, I mean, they literally don't do anything. I don't know. It's like, what would this stone do?
What do you think about the film particularly appeals to like the New York Comic Con crowd? Because if you're
Yeah, well, you know, it's got a classic feel to it. It's kind of a throwback kind of movie. If you like some of those old westerns, you know, I mean, look at this, even this picture. It's like, you know, it's like some old Sergio Leone. It's like, I mean, I'm not equating myself to Lee Marvin, but you know, it's just like, it's not all doom and gloom, and it's got, you know, these kids in it are so darn good and cute and fun to hang out with. So
interesting too, like it's a western and then you have all these futuristic.
Yeah, right.
So there's like this contrast, but then it's
Yeah.
a good setting.
Yeah, it's like that movie Westworld.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which I actually think they're remaking at some
I've
point.
heard that.
Yeah.
I've heard that.
So what was it like in South Africa?
I loved it. We were in the middle of nowhere. I took a lot of pictures of this little town we were in, Springbok. It had a store, a militia store. Sold fireworks, guns, coins, and then it said fireworks again. That was the sign. But it was out in the middle of the desert, and we would just drive to the most, I mean, you see in the movie, the most remarkable landscapes. And I like just, you know, I was there for about a month. It was just like taking a month off from the rest of my life or whatever. Just like going to outer space or something.
So
You got to work with you got to work with all these young actors and stuff like that. What kind of advice did you give, or did you learn anything from them in regards to
Yeah, I don't know. They always seem like, you know, my peers. I mean, I didn't really. I mean, Cody's very. You know, one of his first experiences was making the road, so he's very. You know, he's very prepared because that's, you know, another father-son disaster movie. So it's kind of, he'd been there before. And Nick, you know, Nick is a really hard worker. He was very particular about trying to get the accent right that he wanted, and very hard on himself, always pushing himself. And then Elle's just, you know, that family, her and Dakota, is marvelous natural talent. And real sweet people, you know. And their mom comes, and she's real nice. Good, just real grounded people.
Do you enjoy working on science fiction films? Or is it like not really this different from
You know, I like working on good movies. So if it's a science fiction movie and it's good, I'll have a good time. You know? I like working with smart directors who have very thorough visions of their films, who are strong, good communicators. So if they're making a science fiction movie, that's cool. But I don't it's not like I go see a lot of them. I mean, I guess I used to. When I was a kid, one of my favorite movies was Starman. I really like that movie. But that's a good example because it's kind of a science fiction movie, but it's kind of not. It's just more about the relationship between Jeff Bridges.
Yeah, Young Ones is like that. It's like not really focused on the tech, the science fiction, relationships, and it's the background.
Right.
Really good movie.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I think, and we're switching up.
Did it turn?